G'day everybody, welcome to Strong, Happy, Healthy, Loved. I'm Carl, your host, and today we've got Aaron Darby, a mate of mine I joined the army with, so this is going to be a good one. So,
Pleasure to be here.
awesome.
Thanks very much. Growing up, nothing too special there, mate. Like fairly normal childhood, mum and a dad. Went to school. I think I was born on a little dairy farm out in Morrinsville for the Waikato boys out there. Raised in Hamilton, went to a few schools through there. Um, had a fairly strong sense of adventure early in life, which kind of clashed a wee bit with my mother, who was all around safety and security a wee bit. So just did well at school. And I think I sort of towards the end of school there, I was pretty sick of doing studies in school and just doing
Yeah,
all right at it, and wanted to join the army then. But I can remember my mother at the time convinced me, she's like, no, you need to go to university and get a degree and get a good job. And so I did go to university for a year, studied sociology and psychology. After a year, I had a student loan. I had three E's. I had four incomplete courses. And then I went to join the army, and best decision ever made. So
yeah,
really, really got stuck into it, I
yeah,
think, mate.
awesome.
A subtle little taste there. Did some work over at Morrinsville, joined the volunteer fire brigade while I was over there. Gave me a little bit of taste of volunteer fire brigade work. And that kind of, yeah, so going into the army, I was thinking, hey, mate, I want to do this fireman thing. Yeah, I'll do the fireman thing inside the army. That was kind of
Yeah,
where I pointed in that direction.
yeah.
But standard recruiter drill, mate. Hey, look, join up as infantry. You can trade change later on. Sweet as. That's me, mate. That'll do.
You're not the first one who said that, actually. Um,
Yeah,
so with
good,
the
mate. Good.
formation of Alpha Company, mate.
That was a whole company worth of infantrymen all put through basic training together, dropped into Second Verse Battalion, formed a whole company of its own in Second Verse Battalion. It was the largest company there because all the other companies were under strength. Um,
What-
Very strong core spirit amongst that group, mate. But yes, a whole bunch of cherries in one hit going in there, mate. Probably, hey, look, all the old digs in there would be like, oh, there's another bunch of cherries. Just every time there was a haka needed for anything, we got called up, dial a haka. I can remember that trip we did to Fiji. We got brought back like 2 or 3 days early because some camp commander was turning up and they wanted someone to do the haka for him, and that was us, mate.
Oh
Got brought out of Fiji early
yeah,
for that one.
yeah. Oh, it was an awesome
So,
haka though. It was yeah, it was the. I'm pretty sure I've seen it a couple of times on YouTube since as well, and it's
oh yeah.
good. Yeah, mate. Yeah, yeah. When unfortunately a few of the soldiers got killed overseas, there was a really big one that's sort of
Okay.
impressive. That's had
Yeah.
a lot of views on YouTube. That one with the whole
Yeah.
battalion is on the parade ground there, and they got the vehicles and
Yeah.
that. But
Oh,
yeah, it's sad
yeah.
times when it has to be done like that. But
Yeah.
it was a very strong spirit, mate. The annual skill at arms.
Oh, yes. I remember that one quite clearly. I think it's one of our very first ones. Um, Obviously, everyone goes through there's different ranges that you're shooting at, different targets, some of them moving, further out targets as well, longer range sort of out 300 meters plus. Um, I remember that one quite clearly because you and I both got the top shot in our platoon. We were equal. And on a
Oh
count back,
yeah.
I think you had one shot at the longer range and I had an extra shot at the shorter range. And so you became the platoon sniper and I
The
got
mark they called it
nothing.
the platoon marksman. Yeah, the platoon
Yeah, mate.
marksman. Yeah,
Good on,
so
good on.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. No, well, I think you got the GPMG, didn't you?
Yeah, yeah, Ned. Yeah, yeah. That was my baby, mate. 10 kilos of machine. Man, I love that weapon, mate. That was the greatest. It's like it was quite big, but you know, like a big unit. I can carry that.
Yeah,
You carry all the ammo that goes with it. But I do remember, mate, yeah, you drop that into some trees and trees start falling over and it goes through brick walls. And if you want to hide
yeah,
behind something, it doesn't matter, mate. That was a great weapon, mate. I love that.
yeah. It was a,
That's
it was
freaking
a, it
awesome.
was a it was a good one, all right. And trade changed, mate, to electrical engineers.
Oh,
How long were you in Alpha? So it was still Alpha Company. You're an Alpha Company. Is that where you trade changed from?
yeah, yeah, yeah. Pretty much straight out of there, mate. Um, oh, the little pushing behind that one. So I got a girl pregnant fairly early on in life there, mate. Got a
Oh
baby.
yeah, yeah.
So
Wow.
that
Yeah, yeah,
gave me the little push fairly on. Say, oh, look, you know, if you've got someone here now, you've got to have a bit of responsibility around there. It's better go get a trade, something I can use once I get out of the army later in life. So, yeah, got stuck in the trade change. I actually wanted to be an armorer at the time, and I was having a chat to one of the armorers, the armorer section there, and chat what they were doing and stuff like that. And he said, mate, you seem like a smart lad. Maybe you should be an electrical engineer because they make more money than we do. And you're like, oh, more money. That's me. And then 5 years later, I was sick of electronics and wanted to go back and do armor stuff. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, just
Wow. Yeah.
lessons learned in life. Don't do it
Yeah.
for the money, but
And what was the what was it like? Because I was only in the infantry and I never corps
yeah,
changed or anything like that. What was it like
yeah.
going from the infantry into a I don't know, is it cushier? Is it easier being what are you guys called?
Oh, so this is some really interesting comparisons in here, mate. This is really good, actually. So we
Yeah.
can talk about the infantry, mate. They've got a really strong core spirit,
Right.
really strong. Like I can
Yeah.
remember, hey, if someone's going into town, we're all going into town. If some things have a girl, well, we're all no, no, okay, it wasn't quite that bad, but and if someone's leaving town, we're all leaving town. If someone gets in a fight, we're all getting in a fight.
Yeah.
Uh, and I can
Yeah.
remember those situations. It's
Yeah,
okay, we're
yeah.
all getting
So
in a fight now. Thanks,
that's
mate.
all I kind of knew was that side of it. So
Yeah,
I'd
yeah, yeah,
love to hear
yeah.
what it was like for you because you've experienced
Oh,
both sides when you
yeah.
change
So
course, mate.
the trade that have changed over the electrical engineering stuff there, they're part of the electrical mechanical engineers. We call them the EMI guys. They got combined with logistics a few years ago, and but the core spirit within the EMI guys, it's really like you thought infantry was strong, mate. The core spirit amongst the EMI guys is stronger,
Yeah,
and
wow.
they're smart buggers as well, mate. I'll tell you a little story that kind of got me over there in the first place. We're on an exercise out in Kuriau somewhere. We had a Unimog that had broken down, and we're all doing full cam, sort of playing sneaky, sneaky. We'd sort of circle the wagons and like parked up somewhere with this broken down truck, and everything's all blacked out. We're all just because we're on exercise sort of training, and just out of the darkness, mate, this dude appears, and he's all cammed up, dressed up, rifle and webbing, same as us. Just appears out of the darkness. He's like, "Oh, you've got a broken truck, have you?" It's like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah, take me to it." Okay, go over this truck, go underneath the cabinet, mate. He cracks this little red xylem stick, gives it to me, says, "Hold that just there." It's just a little red xylem stick. You can't see much with that. And he starts tinkering away with a little spanner underneath the truck there, tinkering away, tinkering away. It's like, "Oh, yeah." And he's, "Oh, yeah, that should have fixed it." Closes it all back up, mate, and then just disappears off into the darkness again. You're like, "Who is this guy?" It's like, he's war, but he can fix trucks. So that was like, so that was like, mate, as these guys were, they're war,
Wow.
mate. They're, yeah, very much war. They're prickly as war buggery. They do it. They train for the skill, the arms, yet they are war,
Yeah.
and they can fix stuff. So yeah, yeah,
Yeah, that's
definitely. A little
so
bit
cool,
smarter than your
bro.
average soldier. Yeah, yeah. Love that, mate.
Yeah, good
Definitely
stuff.
enjoy going on exercise. A little bit cushy, obviously, because you've got trucks and wagons, so you've always got a hot brew handy somewhere. But at the same time, that also makes you a big target. So
Yeah,
pros and cons
yeah.
either way on that one, right?
Yeah,
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 yeah. But definitely, really enjoyed my time there, mate. Really good bunch of guys. Real strong course for it. Oh, here I'll give you another story, mate. Um, core birthdays.
yeah,
So the core
yeah,
birthday
yeah,
for
yeah.
the Emmy guys is the 1st of December. All right. Um, They've been put into a logistics company, joined the logistics company. So sort of the boys supposed to have their birthday anymore, but on the 1st of December, mate, there was always some mischief. Um, like I remember one famous one we had. No, oh, it's all this is all organised at private level, mate. So like none of the leadership know about this stuff. We just go
Yeah,
around and
right.
organise our own
Yeah,
little bit of mischief
yeah,
there.
yeah,
So
yeah.
come the 1st of December, mate, the infantry awoke to a set of cabbages in formation on their parade ground. Um, there was a camp commander visiting from somewhere externally that day. He was late getting picked up from the airport because someone had superglued the transport lock gut shut. The transport lock
What was
shut.
on the parade ground?
A formation of cabbages.
Of what, sorry?
Cabbages.
Cabbages
Yeah.
from the garden.
Yeah, mate. This full formation of cabbages all laid out. Yes, a little company
Like a
like
whole platoon,
formation
like
of,
a platoon worth of
yeah,
cabbages.
yeah,
That's
man.
with uniforms or just cabbages?
Just cabbages.
That's awesome. On the parade ground.
Yeah, mate. Yes.
Oh, and what else? Yeah, that's awesome, mate.
Um,
I
so
thought
yeah,
you said
this
something
kept
like that. That's why I had to go back and go, did he say cabbages all formed up?
well, so it's the kind of hey, that's the infantryman, mate. He's a cabbage.
Oh my gosh.
So this camp commander, we had a camp commander supposed to be visiting from somewhere. He was late getting picked up because we'd super glued the transport lock shut on the gate there. Um,
Oh,
so
well.
So yeah, they had to cut the lock on the end. They got picked up, and as he's driving down State Highway 1 towards Burnham Camp, all you can see from the distance. I don't know if you can remember Burnham Camp. There's this big cell phone tower out behind the fire station there.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So there was a sheet-sized Emmy flag flying from the cell phone tower, mate, that you could see from State Highway 1 driving in towards camp. And this is supposed to
Wow.
be a disbanded group. There's this giant flag sailing above camp. Um, the I had a car at the
I wonder
time.
who climbed up there, man. That would have been a bit of a feat.
I wouldn't know. It's exciting when you've got no ropes and it's dark.
Yeah. Oh
Um,
my gosh.
exciting times. Back then, I had a Triumph 2500 TC that I'd hand painted the electrical mechanical engineers logo on the bonnet.
Yes,
And
that's that photo's going to go
yeah,
up, mate. We'll be showing that right about
good man.
now.
We'll put that one up
Yep.
there.
Yeah, for sure.
So so the camp commander turns up to the front gate of camp there, outside Burnham, and that car was parked outside the front there of the bus stop. So he's got this car with the Emmy Mafia wagon parked out the front there with the little flags. And then as he
Oh.
drives through camp, there's people frantically everywhere pulling down flagpoles because all the flagpoles in camp had been short roped with an Emmy flag. So they're having to drop the flagpole down and take the flag
Yeah.
off and stick the flagpole back up. So all across the front of the stores section, down sort of in the stores area down there, there's a bunch of spoons glued all across the front of the store section there. There's a reference to spoonies, which was a nickname for store people back then. So
Oh, hard case.
every year after that, like leadership, obviously, hey, we can't have that going on, naughty, naughty.
Yeah.
But every year after that, adventure training was always held around that week on the 1st of December, and it was always away from camp. so,
Yeah, nice one. Yeah, yeah.
so
Oh,
yeah, yeah,
I
yeah,
certainly remember adventure training. Some of them were really fun and some of them weren't fun at all.
yeah. Adventure training this year will be an 80-kilometer walk over the YL Pass.
Yes, that. So you did that one, didn't you?
Yeah, mate. I actually enjoyed that.
Oh,
Like
yeah,
it's a hard
it
slog,
was
but
cool.
it's
I enjoyed jumping off. Did you jump off the bridge?
yes, yes,
Yes, me
yeah,
too.
yeah.
Yeah,
Everyone
yeah.
in my section jumped off, and there's this Lovelia standing there. It's going, oh, well, I guess I'm going because we're all going.
Oh, it was pretty high,
Yeah,
wasn't it? And it was so
yeah.
cold. I remember hitting the water and it was so cold I thought I was going to drown because I couldn't feel any of my limbs.
Oh, yeah,
And
yeah,
it
yeah.
was
It was
like
a bit
you
chilly.
lucky you could just sort of just see the rocks and you could feel them and climb out. But man, that was so cold
Yeah.
jumping off that into that water, eh? It was certainly
I
exciting, that's for sure. I wonder how high that was.
I know there's a lake crossing up the top there too. You sort of get up towards the top of the pass.
Yeah.
You had the option of walking over a series of cliffs, or you
Mm,
had an option of just wrapping up your gear and just doing a water crossing the length of the lake. And it's probably about a good kilometre long. But
yeah.
and that was icy cold too. We were floating all our gear down the far end of the lake,
Yeah.
climb
Yeah.
out the other end. Yeah,
Yeah. And
good stuff though.
yeah. Oh
Good
wow,
stuff.
see you did do that. That's awesome. And then yeah, sorry, mate, Afghanistan, you
I was going to say this. Oh, so while I was doing my trade, electrical engineering trade, Timor came in.
oh yes, that's right. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah,
Bat two.
and I was a bit unfortunate there because they wouldn't send us over to Timor as an apprentice because essentially you're unskilled and you're supposed to be repairing all this electronic equipment that they're using over there. We weren't skilled yet enough to repair all that.
Yeah.
And sort of towards the end of my trade, when I kind of became skilled enough to be able to do that, was when we'd wrapped up Timor and was kind of all over. So lots of my friends going over there and coming back and telling me all about it and all the exciting parts of that. Leader Manning
What
was
was
a
it like to be left behind, not to go on that to put to particular sort of deployments if you didn't go? What
oh
was that feeling like? Because I'm curious
yeah.
about this at the moment because I've talked to a couple of people and it's actually very similar later on in life that it causes similar sort of mental stuff, doesn't it?
It's frustration mostly because
Mm.
essentially all you've been doing up to this point is training for this. And here you
Yeah,
finally get to go on an operation and, oh, no, sorry, mate, you can't go.
yeah,
So, yeah, just mostly frustration around that one, mate.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And yeah, Len, well, today's actually the day that he passed away. And he joined the army with us. He was on their same intake.
Yeah, yeah, mate. It was me and him. We were both Waikato boys joining up through the same recruiter.
Really?
So, yeah, 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 yeah.
Did you
So,
know him
yeah,
before you joined the army?
no, 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 no.
Yeah. So
But
just met
hey,
him on
we're all there
Bassick.
together, mate.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. It
And
was he
straight in
was
there.
yeah, good mate of mine in the army as well. We ended up being on a few courses together. We were on the scouts course, we teamed up and
Yep, yep.
reconnaissance patrol procedures. we teamed up on that as
Yep.
well. And the last time I actually seen him was in Bullock Latan. My section was just about to get on the helicopter, and their platoon had just got there or something like that. Anyway, he was in the
Yeah.
shitter, and he
Yeah.
shouted out to me over the top of the shitter, "Burglar!" And I turned around and seen him, and walked back over, and shook his hand over the top of the shitter. I remember he had a
Yeah.
big moustache at the time, and we yeah, little did
Yeah.
I know that that would be the last words were sort of speak
Yeah.
to each other, and then
Yeah.
next thing all that other stuff happened. So that in the end,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
the frustration was gone, and you're off to Afghan.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely, definitely. Very happy about that, mate. Finally get to do what you warrior want to do. Mate, great tour over there. I was there over there fairly early on, so we were still in greenskins at that point there. All right. Yeah, yeah, good trip over there, mate. Because we're there fairly early
PRC?
on.
What's PRC?
PRC, Provincial Reconstruction Team. So I'm very conscious that when we were over there, where there is a provincial reconstruction team. We had a fairly quiet spot. It's up at 3,000 meters, so it's about the mount height of Mount Cook. You're working at the top of Mount Cook the whole
Mm,
time.
yeah.
Nice little valley there. Taliban have been quite rough in their valley there, so us being there sort of kept the Taliban away, and we weren't hurting the locals like the Taliban were. So they were pretty happy to have us there.
Yeah.
Um, at the same time, there are people that, hey, mate, you've got foreign people with arms in my country. I don't want you here. So just you can't be lazy.
Yeah. Got to
Don't be
have your
lazy.
wits
You
about
just got
you.
to be aware.
Yeah.
Yeah, mate.
Yeah.
I do remember at one point there I had because joint forces over there, Army, Navy, Air Force all working together, and there's a
Mm,
Navy person had bought a mat from the local bazaar down there. I was going down to organise picking it up and stuff, and she asked me to come with her, and we took an interpreter, so jumped on one of the little Hiluxes and cruised on down there. And she went into the shop and did her thing while I was sitting there with the Hilux, and it sort of, in that little moment, you realise there's two of us here. The QRF is about 15 minutes away at best. I think if any shit goes down here, it's going to be me, and I'm going to be dragging a body. So just all right, stay frosty. Yeah,
yeah.
just
Yeah.
yeah. You can end up in a little spot there if you're not careful, and
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, just keep your eyes about it.
Yeah.
Um, oh, little exciting moments in there, mate. I could be doing a little resupply run down in Kabul. Obviously, you go through Bagram and down to Kabul to get resupply stuff coming up through to us.
Yeah.
Um, when we're cruising around there, obviously we're in a Hilux is sort of fairly low key, just trying to stay hidden in amongst all the locals, kind of disguised in there, and we did all right. I can remember I was riding shotgun on the lead vehicle in there. Pretty chaotic in Kabul, you've got all the oxen in amongst the cars and stuff. It's a 5-lane roundabout. There's no markings or anything like that on the road. And we'd come off the roundabout off down on a street somewhere, and I could see what looked like some kind of policeman up ahead started acting up a wee bit. And I was, your spidey sense are going up. Hey, what's going on? What's going on? And we had a big tan-coloured American resupply truck with us, which was just a shit magnet, dragging along with us. So it turns out because as a left-hand driver, couldn't see what was down there, and it crunched into a taxi when it was trying to come off the roundabout. Now, ordinarily he'd stop and say, "Hey, what's going on?" You sort the taxi man out and that. But under that situation, mate, you can't stop. You have to keep rolling. So, sorry, Mr. Taxi Man, we've dinged your taxi. We're just gonna keep rolling, mate. Which is why the policeman was upset. So,
Yeah.
but
Wow.
that's how it rolls there, mate. Lives are a little bit more important than a ding taxi in that scenario. So,
Yeah.
um, yeah, most of the place around there was pretty chilled out. You just got to watch out for that wild dog. Stay on the track so you don't step on a landmine. Lots of
Yeah.
old Russian stuff still lying around there. But yeah, now definitely got a trip, mate. Good
Yeah.
to
What about the
hang out with the
buildings?
crew.
Are there old buildings and stuff there?
Yeah, yes, yep, yep. There's the old Buddhas. The holes in the rock are still there from where the Buddhas were. They got blasted out of the rock by the Taliban back in the 80s in tanks. That was a bit unfortunate. Um, but the ruins are still there, and you can sort of go up through the tunnels and behind there, and sort of in behind the Buddhas and have a bit of a look around. There's no safety stuff there, obviously. It's not it's not roped off or anything like that. Just you wander wherever you want over there at your own risk. Yeah, they've got Castle of 1,000 Screams there. That's an old Genghis Khan castle in the middle of the
Yeah.
valley there.
Wow. Cool.
So I don't know if you've heard about that one there. Have a Google of that one.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, there's
Okay.
a bit of an old story in there. Is I think there's it might have been a cousin, I think, of someone from Genghis Khan or something like that. Had everyone holed up inside the castle there, and it's like one of his wives or one of the ladies there um, snuck down through a little sort of underground entrance way and let the enemy in through that way. Yeah. So then obviously all the enemy came in and slaughtered everyone inside there and killed them all off. And I think the outcome of that was Genghis Khan then came through with his armies and just wiped everything out, every living thing out of the valley, and sort of left the same people there to repopulate after that. So yeah, just I think that might have been a bit feisty back in the day, mate.
Yeah, that's hardcore history, man, I reckon. Oh, that,
Yeah.
and then how long was that deployment for?
That was a 6 month window. I was only over there for 4 months. I went in there mid rotation. One of the guys that came out early had for a bit of family stuff.
Yeah.
So that was kind of interesting for me going in, mate. It was very short notice, essentially from the point of, hey, can you go over to getting in there was only about 2 weeks. So I had no language development, nothing like that. Just a very brief couple of lessons on that. It was a 5 day journey over on a Hercules. We didn't take Air Force. There's no no commercial stuff. So 5 days on a Hercules. 2 days to get up to Darwin in a Hercules.
Yeah, right.
This
Wow.
is solid 40
How
hours to
long?
the back. You're sitting there with
That's a long
earmuffs the
time in a
whole
herc,
time.
man.
Yeah, yeah. And you're lying all over sort of your pallets of equipment and stuff. Otherwise, you've only got those little beach seat things to sit on, and it gets pretty sore on your bum after a while. It's a good 5 days of that. It dropped us into Dubai.
5 days,
Um,
did you say?
yeah, man, because the
Whoa.
Herc's not fast.
Far out, Brussels
But
sprout.
I think when we go out of Dubai, I think yeah, out of Dubai, changed into greenskins of Dubai, went into Bagram via Herc. So I've left a 5 star hotel that morning. I've popped into a Herc where you go into Bagram combat style. So your Herc will come in fairly high, and then as it gets closer to the airport, it'll drop down, and she'll be doing fighting maneuvers the whole way in until she stretches to a halt on the runway, mate. Just hard target in.
Yeah.
Um, try not to puke in the back seat. It's exciting when the plane's sideways and you're going with it.
Yeah.
Um, so straight out of the back of the Herc into the back of a Chinook, 40-minute flight back up into Barmian Valley there, and got up into Barmian Village, dropped off onto the dirt runway there, straight on into camp. A couple of the boys are already there. So like, okay, mate, sweet ass, chuck your gear over here. Here's a bed. We just go down the local bazaar, grab your gun, or grab your sort of bits and pieces there, jump in the wagon. We're going down there now. So in the space of about sort of 4 or 5 hours, I've left this 5 star hotel, and suddenly I'm standing on a dirt road in the middle of mud buildings. Some little dude speaking a totally foreign language to me while I'm standing with a webbing a rifle next to the wagon, saying, "Hey, man, what just happened? This is it's pretty
Wow. And did
surreal."
and did you fly in by yourself or did you go with a group of people that were going in as well?
Small group of people. I think there's a couple of officers there and a couple of other techs. So it's probably, I don't know, maybe about 10 or 15 of us coming in.
Yeah,
It's
that's
a small
yeah.
group. Yeah.
Wow, interesting, man. That would be a bit of a different experience going in with only a small group and everybody's already established type thing. When we deployed to
Yeah. Yeah.
Timor, it was a big move. There was lots of us and we were replacing everybody when we got there almost.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm,
Months of pre-deployment training too.
yeah, and you just got short notice.
Yeah, mate. Dropped in the deep end.
Good on you, bro. Yeah, that's awesome. Pretty proud of yourself for
Good
that
though.
one. Yeah, good stuff,
Yeah.
man.
No, that's what we
And
live for, right?
yeah, that's it. And then you got back from there. And how long were you in the army for when you got back from Afghan?
Not too long after that. Actually, when I came back, um, it's kind of a bit sick of the electronic stuff. I think I had a new girlfriend by then. Still had my daughter to grow growing with me. Um, but loved doing the infantry stuff, mate. Loved pack rifle, doing war stuff. Absolutely loved that. So I actually thought I'd go and join the SAS after that.
Yeah, right.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, keen as mustard. Did a bunch of training. I was training 40 hours a week. Still working 40 hours a week in the workshop. Still had my daughter, looking after my daughter half the time, and I was also doing volunteer fireman work as well down the fire station. So I had a pretty full on solid life. Turned into an absolute machine, man. Like a 40
Yeah.
kilo pack running up and down the four hills.
Yeah.
It's amazing how well your body adapts. Like I built my body to a point where it didn't get delayed muscle soreness anymore. You go and smash yourself, give it an absolute hiding. You wake up the next morning fresh and ready to go again.
Yeah, right.
Um,
Yeah, cool.
40-minute PT session, then became a warm up, mate. So yeah, just absolute machine and loved it. Um, about 2 weeks out from the selection course, all ready to rock and roll. And girlfriend I had at the time came and hit me up and said, "Hey, look, love that you're doing this stuff, mate. Love that you're living the dream. but I can see this career path is going to take you away from home a lot. And if you do go away from home, I probably won't be here when you get back.
Wow. Oh, that sucks,
Uh,
man.
but no, no. So we'd already thought about this thing, man. It's like because this is a pretty good woman. This could be worthwhile, and I'd already had the pre-thinking. Look, if this comes up, she's a pretty good woman, mate. We've been together for a few years. Then it's definitely a good trade. She's a lifetime deal.
Yeah.
Um, And if she's not, and a couple of years later, she disappears, I'm still young and fit, mate. I just come back and do it later. That's fine. It's a job that I'd love to do, but yeah. So I just made a decision. Okay, I won't do it just yet. We'll go and build another life and go from there. I
Okay.
actually
And that's that
try to
what
get
you did?
posted.
Is that what you did? You
Yeah,
just
yeah,
decided
yeah,
to
yeah.
choose the missus and all right, no worries. Good on you, bro. That's awesome.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, mate, I'm sure there'll be a million other dudes out there who say, mate, you should have followed your dream. And
Yeah,
looking
yeah.
back in hindsight, mate, I should have followed the dream.
Yeah, well, we do what we do. We can't change the past. All we have to do is accept it and for what it is,
Exactly.
or whatever we've done, and we're now. So it's
Yeah, mate.
yeah, that's
Couldn't
yeah.
have
Thanks
happened
for
any other
sharing
way
that,
because it
man.
didn't.
That's yeah, that's awesome. Hey,
It couldn't have happened any other way because it
yeah,
didn't.
that's it. What's happened's happened. It's
Yeah, yeah,
lessons learnt for whatever they were all around.
yeah.
What ended up happening there with that
Oh, I've
after
tried
that?
getting posted
Yeah,
up to the group just like as their electrical engineer up there, just so I can at least still get to work with them and enjoy that.
yeah,
My girlfriend had a job opportunity up there as well. So she moved up that way. The military careers guy that we had at the time, though, was oh, he's a bit of a dickhead. He posted someone else up there and said, "No, no, we'll keep you down here." And so it's well, my only other option now, mate, is to get out. So thanks for
yeah,
your
right.
time. So
Yeah,
and so that was the end of that.
yeah. And
Yeah,
life on the other side, mate. What was this is a interesting subject in itself. I know what it was like for myself and to several of my friends I've spoke about.
yeah,
For me personally, it wasn't quite what I expected. Uh,
yeah. Okay.
it wasn't what I thought it would be like, and yeah, I sort of felt myself missing my family,
Yeah,
I guess, that I was a part of,
yeah,
and then suddenly I had to pay for all my own medical and rent and the whole shebang. So as a result, I've had a pretty big mental health sort of journey since then, and
yeah.
still continues today. How was it for you?
Exactly that, mate. If you think the military's a very well-tuned machine, man, they're like the epitome of just top quality production. Everything is standardized. Everything's all pre-planned. Everything's organized. The whole thing is a very well-tuned, well-oiled machine that's just really good at building standards and following standards and well-disciplined. You get into the civilian world, mate, it's cutthroat, it's selfish. You're on your own. You have to figure it out. So suddenly your whole support network is gone. All the system that you follow is gone. You have to figure everything out the hard way. Yeah, just yeah. I can remember the first company I joined when I left the army. I was like, I got in there and it's like just really loose standards, just sort of making stuff up as they went along. And it's like, how have you guys survived as a company this long? How do you operate without all these standards in place for people to follow? And so yeah, yeah, just it's yeah, very different world out than the civilian world, mate. Um, yes, you have to deal with the depression that comes out of that. You've lost all your family, yeah, all your connection points, all your purpose in life. If you haven't got a
Yeah,
purpose, you're gonna really struggle there. And
yeah,
I
that,
know I definitely struggled for probably the first couple of years. Um, Girlfriend saved my ass there a wee bit.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
she banded together with a bunch of my family, got a whole bunch of skydive tickets for me, essentially enough for me to get my skydive license.
Oh wow, cool,
And
man. Yeah,
yeah, yeah. So that for me was a bit of a lifesaver, mate. Suddenly you've got something that requires a bit of discipline. You have to be a bit focused and be careful. It's around a process and a drill. You can't just sort of make it up as you go along. Um,
risky
yeah,
behaviors, man. That's sort of what
yeah,
we're
yeah, yeah,
seeking as well when we get out. I done my accelerated free fall courses as
yeah,
well,
yeah,
and I've experienced what you're talking about, and I yeah, it's a pretty cool experience. But if you stuff up, things can go really, really wrong. So it's pretty close to how we used to train in the military, and I think
yeah,
that's what
yeah,
drew me towards it. That
yeah.
it's very serious, but it's also very exciting.
Yes. You got seconds to do stuff, got to follow the drill.
Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, I got a little story for you there, mate. I went to skydive boogie in Motueka. There's about 250 odd skydivers in
Yeah.
one location.
How many
We're
jumps
jumping out
did
of
you do,
heli.
by the way?
I bet 70 something.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
So heaps more than
Yeah.
me, so that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's boogie in Motueka. 250 odd skydivers in one location. We're jumping out of helicopters and microlights and airplanes and stuff, just all sorts of stuff. Um, Me and a mate of mine decided we'd do a little formation load. So we get two microlights up beside each other and jump out of a microlight together and do a couple of tricks, and try to get that on video. His first time rolling a camera. Um, we waited till the Monday morning. Sort of most people had gone home, so we had a bit sort of a bit more relaxed. Um, Obviously the microlights are two-seater, so you sit in the back seat and you have to sit sideways in the seat because you have to kind of forward roll to get out of it. You can't like stand up or anything in there. It's not that big. It's very cold that morning. We did it fairly early in the morning, but so you're sitting there sideways in the seat,
Yep.
and
Yep.
you've kind of got your arm wrapped around the wing spar going up onto the wing behind you, and you're trying to keep your hands wrapped up to keep them warm because it's quite cold.
Yeah,
And you
it'd be
take off down the
freezing.
runway, and they fly off up at the ends of the micro, and you think, "Oh my God, what was I thinking?" Anyway, so we're going up to about 8,000 feet, fairly low little jump. Got the two microlights up beside each other there, and gave a mate the thumbs up. He gave me the thumbs up. Forward roll out, did a little thing, and I've got we call it a didder, a little beeping thing in your ear, and it detects
Yeah,
how
I know
fast you're
what one
falling.
of those are. Yeah,
Yeah,
for
yeah,
the
yeah.
altitude to tell
So,
you how high you are.
yeah, yeah. So you
Yeah.
go past 4,500 feet, it goes beep, 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 beep. So it tells you the time to get away from your mate and get ready to pull out a parachute. It goes
Yeah.
off at 3,500 feet. Beep, 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 beep. Hey, time to get a parachute out, mate. Um, if I go past 2,500 feet and it detects that I'm still falling far, I haven't got a parachute out. If I'm still falling too fast, then it sets off a siren in my ear. You get a wheel, wheel, wheel.
Yeah.
Um, so I've got on 3,500 feet. I've reached around to pull out my parachute, and my hand is so cold that I can't feel a thing. It's like,
Oh,
boys,
yeah.
you're just going like this, mate. It's like you're reaching for that little hacky sack, and you can't feel a thing, mate. So, hey, look, have a bit of a thumble around, hold it, yeah, chuck a hand out. No, nothing came out. Okay, have another go. Now this sounds, yeah, I had to go the second time, and it's a drill, right? You have two attempts, and then you go for your reserve handle. The reserve
Yeah.
handle's here, and it's big and lovely, so you're
Yeah.
not actually in any danger. But it makes a good story, right? I can remember going past 2,500 feet, the siren screaming in my ear. I've had to go at chucking someone else. I can see the roof of the house that I'm going to end up going through if I keep going where I'm going to go. My hands are coming in. Oh, oh, yep, okay.
So you
The
hit the
parachute is
reserve.
out.
You pulled the
No, no,
reserve.
no. The main had come out. Yes, I
Oh,
couldn't
it did
feel it.
come
That's
out.
all.
Yeah, you got it.
But then you got cold hands and you're trying to grab at brake lines and a bit of a line twist to sort the line twist. Okay, point towards the airfield. Oh, am I going to make the airfield? Yes, we're going to
Oh,
make the airfield turn and land. But yeah, good story, mate. But you're safe the whole
yeah.
time. It's
Exciting
just a
stuff,
drill, mate.
man. Yeah. Oh,
Have
you
two
you
attempts. Go for your reserve. You're fine.
oh, good on you, bro. That's awesome. That's
Good
well, I'm
times.
glad you got it in the end and didn't have to go for that reserve. Yeah.
Yeah, 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 definitely. Yeah, no one likes repacking a reserve, mate.
Yeah, and that was a bit of a lifesaver for you, the whole skydiving in itself.
Yeah, definitely, mate. Small crew. Um, because it's a high risk sport, you have to be particular. You look after each other, so you've got that teamwork. Everyone's checking each other's gear before you get into a plane. So yeah, just there is a lot of little army crossover things in there. Everything's a drill. You've got to go through the drill because you haven't got time to stop and fluff around. So yeah, yeah, just a good little taste there, mate.
Yeah,
Take the
wow.
edge off the
Yeah.
beach and stuff.
Mm.
Get your plane.
Okay, Aaron, and you've done a bit of hang gliding. Tell us a bit about that.
Oh, that was a good one, mate. The skydiving thing that I was doing was really cool. Absolutely loved that. But it's like, 50, but you got your own rig, you've got your own bits and pieces, you repack your own stuff. So essentially just paying for a plane ticket to get up and jump out of the plane. 50 bucks for a little plane ticket up there, the little private plane. But by the time you do five jumps in a day, there's 250 bucks at a weekend. You do a
Yeah.
weekend of jumping, there's 500 bucks. It gets pretty expensive pretty quick, even though you've got your own gear. Uh, so hang gliding was actually an alternative that I was looking at, just sort of, oh, look, what's something I can get some airtime, has a bit of skill around it. There's a continuous improvement aspect of it. Still got a bit of adrenaline factor in there. I'm scared of heights, by the way. Did I tell you that?
No, you didn't, and that's the exact same reason why been doing what I've been doing for the same reason. And that's another part of, about mental health is stepping into your fears, and stepping into your fears
Nice.
becomes great growth. Yeah. So
Yes,
yeah,
yeah. So that was a
I am as well, mate. I'm a bit nervous about heights too, and yeah, that's the reasons why I done it.
as an interesting little aspect come out of that, mate. It's like in a hang glider, you take off from the hillside, so you're still relatively close to Earth. But you find a thermal, something you can some air going up somewhere that you can sort of you circle around inside of the thermal and you get higher and higher. Um, I found with the heights thing, it wasn't so much that I got over my fear of heights, but I became braver, But as I'm climbing in a thermal, getting further away from the hill, getting high, this is a good thing because you get to fly further, you have more options. Getting high is a good thing. But as I was getting high, I could feel this little anxiety level coming up on my body. It was getting stronger and stronger, and it's sort of feeling less and less safe, even though you're in a
Yeah.
safer position. So
Yeah.
it's an interesting little mix there.
Did you have
Um,
any dodgy moments?
no, no, look, it's your most dangerous times are when you're launching and landing because in the air you've got plenty of time to respond to. Yeah, they don't wear. They're an inherently safe design now. So if you just let go of the handlebars, that'll naturally sort itself out and go into the natural state of glide. So there's nothing scary about them so much anymore. It's just if you have a bit of a shitty launch and you flip it around on launch, you might crash in. But you're only doing about 30 k's an hour, so it's like a bad rugby tackle. It's not that bad.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, good stuff.
Yeah. You'll hear me a little bit later on in the show, probably talk about recode stuff.
Yeah.
I actually did a little bit of recode around that fear of heights. I found where it came from. My subconscious memory can remember back somewhere between 1 and 2 years old, I've had an event there. I can't consciously remember it, but I can feel the sensation within myself back then. If I go back and explore it, there's somewhere between 1 and 2 years old, I've had an event where I've been that scared me about heights, and that's where it's come from. And
Yeah.
I'll talk about the recode stuff later, but yeah, I've gone and
Yeah.
recoded
Awesome.
it, and it's
Yeah. I look forward to
definitely
hearing
quieted it
about
down,
it.
mate.
Yeah. Cool,
Yeah, I
mate.
was going to say 10 years of hang gliding. I've been flying for a decade now, mate. I've got my tandem rating. I've been flying at national competitions now for 10 years, just sort of getting up into, I'm up in the big boys class now, mate. We've got a bunch of guys over in the worlds at the moment. That would have been a couple of weeks ago by the time people watch this. But so yeah, definitely a lot of life goal here, mate. Try and get on the New Zealand hang gliding worlds team, go overseas, represent New Zealand, have some fun with that. It's on the bucket list.
Oh, awesome, bro.
And
That'd be awesome. I'd love to see you doing that, mate.
mate, I love that myself. And the last little addition is just recently for all the paraglider guys out there, we're like, oh, hang gliding, it's like snowboarding and skiing. I've just bought a paraglider as well. I've just started to get into paragliding, so we're going to explore that little journey as well, mate. It'll be a bit of fun.
Ah, good.
I've done for maybe 4 or 5 hours. 5 hours?
Wow.
Yeah, I've done 5 hours. Yeah,
That's a long time in the sky.
pretty tight after that.
Yeah, I bet. Yeah. And where did you fly for that far and long?
That one there, that was up at 90 Mile Beach. Um, Little launch point we've got up there. You get a nice westerly breeze coming in, hitting the cliffs, and the air popping up over the cliffs. That gives you the air to fly along. So you fly along the cliffs. There's about 60 kilometers of coastline there.
Yeah,
So you sort of
wow.
fly as
Okay.
far south as you can until the hills start running out, turn into sand dunes. So then you fly as far as you can to the north. And sort of by the time you go all the way down the bottom and then all the way out to the north and then come back to your launch point again, yeah, it's a good 5 hours of flying around. That was
Yeah,
a good fun
wow.
day, mate. Got a little YouTube video there floating
Oh,
around
good
about that or
stuff.
something.
Yeah, cool,
Yeah.
mate. Yeah, cool. What else? Any other stories from hang gliding?
So I've been over flying Australia a couple of times.
Yep.
Good rib, mate. So much better. Thermals over there are so much bigger, so much smoother. Yeah, just real big open country. Yeah, real great thermal flying over there. I think the very first time I turned up in Aussie, um, I was still relatively new to hang gliding. It was like they've got a sports class, not the open class, a sports class, like a little junior class. Entered in that one there. I think I'd sort of done a couple of sort of short flights in New Zealand, maybe sort of about 15, 20 Ks. Day one in Australia, mate, flew 85 Ks, completed the course, landed in goal, second person in. I was kind of like, where did that come from?
Really?
um,
Wow. Good on you.
yeah. And I think the Nationals just gone, just here in New Zealand, back in February. 102 Ks. I think it was in the air for about 4.5 hours, I think. Yeah, 102 kilometer course. Probably came out middle of the field, which for me, being sort of up and coming pilot, mate, that was a really good day for me. Just had some good, strong thermals, made good decisions. Um, yeah, followed some smarter people than me, sort of spotted where they were going, what they were doing. Yeah, just spotted some good cloud formations, raced into the goal, sort of cruising about sort of 80 k's an hour, I think, getting into the final on the final glide. 25-kilometer glide on that final glide, mate. That's a long way to be gliding just continuously to 80 k's an hour. So,
That
yeah, yeah.
sounds so cool, man. And it's just, can you just hear the wind up there and your hang glider flapping around, or is it silent?
Just the wind whistling through the wires, mate. Yeah,
Yeah,
bugs in
so
your teeth.
cool.
And
Yeah, bugs in your teeth.
it's a little bit cold up there too. A little bit
Yeah,
cold.
I bet, especially in
Yeah,
New Zealand. Yeah,
yeah.
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 Do you have
No,
a
it's a
sleeping
great
bag?
flight,
Do you
mate.
have a sleeping bag that you lie in when you're up that high?
Definitely, mate. Yep. Yeah, your whole harness system. You've got like a, multi-point harness that you're all strapped into, but it's built inside a sleeping bag. So yeah, once you take off, you tuck your feet back in your little sleeping bag, you zip it up, and you're toasty warm. So you've only
Yeah,
got your sort of head and shoulders and arms sticking out.
yeah.
Um, Actually, you could probably drop a photo in about here. I've got a little flight I did. Um, it's my last flight I did in the sports class. Practice day, I think, of the next competition. I've flown over St. Arnaud. Um, There's a little flight line that I took there. Hadn't been over that way before, and I got all excited and turned my GoPro camera on, mate. And hit the record button on the video, and I'm sitting there, here I am flying over St. Arnaud Lake. It's beautiful lake, mate. It's a nice big blue lake down below. Followed this little cloud line, really high up, about 6,500 feet. And turns out I got a bit excited on the GoPro, and I pushed the button too many times, and it was actually on time lapse. So all I got
Oh.
was a series of me making stupid faces at a camera.
Oh,
So,
bummer.
cute
Yeah.
photo. Here's a picture of me cruising over St. Arnaud Lakes, and yeah, no, beautiful day, mate. Beautiful day. It's a really amazing mountains around. Great flight.
Ah, good stuff, mate.
I got into it at 24-hour adventure racing. That was another good one.
Okay.
Don't know. Haven't sort of probably talked to many people about that. Did a couple of years of that.
So what's that involved? What's involved in
Um,
that?
so there's a couple of guys run it over in Coromandel. It's called Adventure Race Coromandel, ARC. Um, it's a little bit. There's a bunch of checkpoints out there. It's you've got to figure out where they are on. They're just marked on a map. You've got to find your own way there. Um, there's kind of a bit of a route to follow on the checkpoints, but there's also checkpoints that are off route, but you get time bonuses for them. So you could go off and get this checkpoint over here. It might be a kilometer off the main track, and it's going to be a kilometer back. It's going to take you a bit of time to go there and back and get it, but then you get a time bonus at the end. So if you can get there and back quickly, then it could be worthwhile. You get a shorter time overall.
Is this
Um,
by like in the bush, like running or with a map or?
Multidisciplinary, mate. So there's like a kayak league, a mountain bike league, bush navigation league, and they usually chuck some adventurous stuff in there. Like one of the checkpoints is down a mine, and you go down the mine, and you cruise. And you get to a water section, it's an inner tube. So then you sit in the inner tube and float down the mine a bit further, and you get the checkpoint down the far end on the wall. Um, or the mine would split into two and go two different directions. Um,
Yeah.
at one end is
What sort of people were doing this?
just people who love sort of running around in the bush, doing a bit of navigation under pressure. Um, like doing it at night time as well because it's across 24 hours.
Yeah, cool,
I can
mate.
remember I got an old army mate of mine said, hey, mate, I'm keen on doing this race. Do you want to come and have a go? He's like, yeah, mate, he's a good, keen lad, mate Birdie. He said, yeah, let's go and have a go. So, yeah, we turned up there, just for a bit of a laugh. And we had this plastic, fantastic twin kayak, that we'd managed to get from somewhere. Everyone else has got Kevlar racing machines. Like, oh, well,
Yeah, right.
it was raining, so I've got my old army jacket. um, so think on that kayak leg, there's a couple of checkpoints in around the harbour, but then there's another one on an island 2 k's offshore. So you're paddling out into the main swell out in the ocean. Suddenly you're going over these big swells and down the other side. Like, are we in the right place, mate? It's like, yeah, checkpoints out. You go and get the checkpoint on the island and come back in. And because you're on a plastic fantastic kayak, you get to the end of that and you're like, we were one of the last groups coming in on the kayak section. And you're like, oh, yeah, hey, we're just having a bit of fun, mate. But our navigation was really good and our fitness was really good. So, you caught up about a quarter to a third of the field in the mountain bike league pretty quickly. And then got into the bush section, mate, and we smoked through the bush section. Like after the kayak league, a couple of organisers there thought, oh, shit, those guys might not make it through. And then suddenly we're halfway out through the field and they're like, oh, okay, no, we're back on. That's good. So, just, and they said it's a good activity to the, I think one of the activities at night time, you come up to like a zip line leg. There's a zip line you had to go down, but it's in the dark, right? So here you are at nighttime. You're going down the zip line. You've got these little trees whizzing past you. You can't see them. You're just in your little headlamp. You just suddenly see these trees flying until you woof, suddenly there you are at the end, and
Yeah,
then
wow.
on to the next activity. So
Yeah.
it's mate, lots of fun. All your bush nav that you do in the army all comes out there. You know, you're trying to find this little A4 size piece of paper with a letter on it, just run around in the bush being a mad bugger, or down your mountain bike, charging down some steep, muddy track on a mountain bike in the middle of the night on torchlight. You can barely see past the end of your light. You hope like hell there's not a corner up ahead somewhere you have to watch out for. Yeah,
Yeah.
just good fun, mate. Good fun.
And is
Good
it and
challenging stuff.
it's over 24 hours or 48 hours, or what's the sort of times, the
The
ones
20,
that you on?
generally 24 hours. Yeah, yeah. They have like I think an 8 hour and a 12-hour version, and there's the big boys 24-hour version.
Yeah, awesome,
And
mate. That's so cool. Yeah. And you're a fireman, mate.
oh yeah, yep. Um,
Tell us a bit
yeah, let's
about
talk about that
that,
a little bit.
Aaron.
Yep.
Yeah, you forget. I remember you're a fireman.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Got a little taste earlier before I joined the army. Morrinsville Fire Brigade. I joined there when I was working in town there. It's only for a couple of months, just enough to get a bit of, oh, this is what fireman stuff's about. I really enjoyed it. Like, yeah, really good bunch of guys. Um, I also did some when I was in the army. So after I trade changed over into the electrical engineering stuff, because you spend a bit of time in camp, that also gave me time to join up with the local brigade and Burnham Camp there. And the Burnham Camp one's an interesting one. They're a bunch of permanents that are there full time. That's their full time job, but they're also supported by supplementary with volunteers. So there's probably half of the crew there were volunteers.
Yeah.
But because
Okay.
you're working with permanents, you get trained to the permanent standard. Mate, that is a game changer in civilian world.
Yeah.
So
Right. Yeah.
out in civilian world at the time, you'd find a lot of the volunteer brigades were just, some old fat guy who was the local builder and he'd pop down here and squirt a hose if they needed to, but it's all a bit rough and sort of not well trained and yeah, it's pretty rough. So us having that permanent level of training and coming out into volunteer brigades when we got out, mate, yeah, just oh, the army connections, mate. Um, when I got out, I moved up to the Kofita, up sort of north of Huntly, sort of halfway between Huntly and sort of Auckland there.
Okay.
Uh,
Yep.
there was an ex-Emmy guy was in the brigade up there. Um, he obviously called back down towards Bert and said, "Hey, there's a guy here at Blind Brigade. He's ex-army. What do you know about him?" And they say, "Mate, this is who the dude is." He gave me a call, said, "Yep, here's the training night. Come on up there, mate." I turned up on that night. Here I am. I don't know anyone. Okay, here's the chief. Here's the vice chief. Here's it. They just introduced me. Everyone, here's a set of gear. Just straight off the bat, mate, into the deep end, straight in there with all the boys. Just a real good welcome into the crew. Looked after me really well, and we got stuck into it. And because he knows we've been trained to a permanent standard, he expects a better standard from us. So
Yeah.
just giving
Yeah.
us absolute shit.
Absolutely.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, a lot of really good times with that crew, mate. They're a really good bunch of guys. Yeah, stayed in touch with them for many years after I left there. That was great. Yeah.
Yeah. And what sort of
Um,
fires did you attend with? Many fires with did you attend while you're doing the job? Like I don't know how much action does a fireman get?
I think Takota, oh, moderately busy. They sort of have maybe a call a week. Very mixed bag, mate. So they cover a big chunk of State Highway 1 there for car accidents. Obviously, you get a few back road accidents as well. Little odd bods, trees down, power lines down, that kind of stuff. But then also a little the odd house fire in there as well.
Yeah.
So definitely a very mixed bag. Um, oh, this, if I, I'll talk a little bit about the PTSD stuff here.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Absolutely, man. I want to. Yeah. Go for it.
yeah, so one of the things I've learned out of this, I've been a little bit lucky in this respect. My understanding of PTSD is you experience a traumatic event that's it's a sensory overload. Your
Yeah.
body's not ready for it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, And in my scenario, going through this fireman stuff, those opportunities were there. But if you start small, like I think the very first fire I ever went to in my life was a school fire, and sort of I just joined in. The chief put me in his wagon and said, "Okay, come here, stand here. You're not going to do anything. You're just going to see what the crew's doing, and so you're not involved in it. You just get to see what's happening and get a bit of a feel for it." Okay. Um, some of my early accidents were just people who had sort of had a bit of a pain and were stuck in a car, but they weren't badly injured. So you can help them, and so you're gonna. It's not too much of an overload. And so in the build up of those, like I remember a couple of accidents I've been to where there's like multiple fatalities. I've got, four kids in a car, a couple of dead. You kind of, I've got enough of a handle on what's going on by that stage. It's like, okay, some people know these kids because it's a local community thing. So, okay, you guys stay in the back. Look, I'll go sort this one out here. A couple of us are sort of, yeah, we're built I don't know, the trauma stuff is built up slowly enough that you get to
Yeah,
that point. It's like, okay, look, it's okay. I understand this. I know where things are going, what to do. The emotional overload isn't there. It's just sort of, yeah, it's sort of, you're okay to work in those environments and sort of, it's what wasn't an overload. So from a PTSD perspective, I didn't get too much traumatic jumping on that one. I didn't jump in the deep end, so I didn't get the overload. So I've been
yeah,
fairly lucky in that respect.
yeah,
But yeah, I know there's yeah, some people, the first accident they go to is this big and messy, and you don't want to start like that, mate. That's pretty hard on your system.
yeah. So you had a sort of
Yeah,
gradual start into it. But what about
yeah.
later on when you sort of look back on things? If you, does it affect you
Um,
or
I've
has
got
it?
an interesting reflection. So I've got a really good reflection point here. So I've been out of five. So I was in there for about a decade doing volunteer firefighting, mate. Good solid 10 years,
Yeah,
different brigades. Um, I've been out for a couple of years now, and I was on a motorbike trip going down to Palmerston North. Going down the way. Yeah, it's fairly late at night. It's just after dark. Cruising on my little motorbike in the darkness, and up ahead in the middle of the road, there's down Palmerston North Way. There was a car had stopped, and I could see a body on the middle of the road and the headlights of the car. So straight away, I'm on the anchors, stop, try and stop the traffic behind me. Here I am trying to stop traffic in the dark. Make yourself safe first. Um, the lady in the car that stopped over there with the body in the headlights, she's screaming. She thinks it's her husband from a house nearby. She's trying to pull into a house nearby and thinks it's her husband. She's getting out of the car. She's got kids in the car, still screaming. She gets over there. She realizes it's not her husband, but then she's screaming because it could have been her husband. There's lots of noise, lots of sort of
yeah,
audio going on.
yeah.
Um, I go to check on the guy, and you can see he's very clearly dead, mate. The head's all misshapen and sort of pretty mashed up. It's like, okay, you're not going to bring him back to life, mate. Don't worry about that. So you're trying to manage this lady. Okay, look, love, you've got the kids. Go take them inside over there. Just sort of, yeah, go wait over there. Someone will come talk to you later on. A couple of other people are starting to turn up by then. There's someone else then turns up who knows him. Oh no, sort of, trying to hug him and then trying to drag him off the road. He's like,
Ah,
stop, please, no, don't move him. Just trying to manage that. Um, Turns out there was a guy who was struggling with stuff in life, an older guy, and it just got to a point that gets dead out in front of a truck.
wow.
Um, yeah, yeah, so it's traumatic for the truck driver to go through that stuff, mate. Here's the truck parked up the road, just he's going to be a mess now tonight. Um, that there, it took me a few days just to process that one, and I can look back on the accidents and stuff that I've attended along the way, and it's kind of like, nah, they were all sort of, you knew you were going to that. Hey, you've had a call on the radio, you've hopped in the truck, you know you're going to it. Turning up to something cold like that was probably a bit harder on the system than it was going to something that you knew you were going to. So yeah, where you kind of get dropped in the deep end like that, that's probably more of a, hey, I wasn't expecting that. Yeah, just it takes time to process that stuff. So that there probably had more of an effect on me than going to any of the stuff that I went to. So
Mm.
yeah, but it's a good little debrief point that comes out because you're training around this stuff, right? If we have had an event, um, especially on the really significant events, you'd have a guy come in and he'll just ask you, you'll sit around in a group, have a drink, whatever. It's just a couple of questions that'll come up. Hey, mate, what did you see and what did you do? And you just get to tell them what you saw and what you did. And all that does is allow your brain to process that and file it away. It just helps process that stuff that comes out of there.
We had a
You know?
similar thing when we finished our tours of duty in East Timor where we had to
Yep.
go see a site, but the difference
Yep.
between what then and now is back then
Yep.
we were young and in our early 20s and it's like, oh,
Yeah.
let's just go. Yeah, it was all good. Just tell them what you want to hear because you don't really think
Yep.
about anything then. And it's not until years later that, things start to affect you. And that's the part that
Yeah.
I struggled to understand for a long time why things that happened didn't bother me at the time, but later on they
Yep.
started to really affect me.
How we
Mm,
fix these little wounds and bitty bits and pieces that come up and haunt us later
yeah,
in life.
absolutely.
Yeah.
What have
So there again,
tell me what you've learned.
I find this traumatic stuff that can affect you in life like this. But then I also found there's a couple other things. There's how well you were emotionally attuned to when you're growing up as a kid. So if you've got parents that are emotionally switched on, and as a little child, you have a little moment and they support you and they help label that emotion. So you get to understand what that feels like in your body and what
Yeah.
that sensation is and what that means, and you're able to express that. in a healthy way, those kids grow up pretty bulletproof and stable. If you've got parents that aren't very good at that, it wasn't until I was like almost 45ish before 50 that before I started figuring out what are these sensations in my body, what's this feeling, what does this mean. All this
Mm.
time I've been living on autopilot and had no idea. I was just this emotional wreck, just chucking out whatever came up, and which plays havoc through your relationships in life as well. So that's kind of that also affects it. But then there's also some conditioning stuff. Like I can remember a belief fairly early in life for me that I was given was, look after other people before you look after yourself. And so here I am going through life with this belief that I have to take care of everyone around me at the expense of myself. So yeah, these things can all lead to kind of you end up in if you don't know how to process your emotions when they come up, going into traumatic events, it just makes it so much harder. So all of these little things kind of figuring your way out through life. Once you learn to feel emotions within your body, how to process and metabolize them,
I think
it makes life
processing,
so much easier, eh?
yeah, I think processing them's a really big one. So for me personally, I was very impulse on my emotions for a long time, and because I didn't really
Yeah,
understand, and as I've grown, I've learned about emotional maturity. So that's it's easier said than done a lot of the time because if someone, angers you, it's very hard to,
yeah,
but not letting your emotions rule your decisions, if that makes sense. Breath work was another thing that helped me dramatically.
yeah.
And before the breath work, I learned plant medicine.
It's a little bit of a simplistic view, but I know here's a conscious brain. This is the one that we've got memories. We know what we did last week. We think consciously, and we know 95% of our brain's working at a subconscious level. So there's a whole lot of decisions and processes going made at the end, the background. But then you've also got like your fight or flight system in there that you talk about, and if
Yeah,
that subconscious system, there's like clusters of neurons around your heart. There's a cluster of neurons around your stomach. Like 80% of your serotonin gets made in this cluster within your stomach.
really, from
Um,
the stomach. Hmm.
yeah. So these clusters of neurons will store memories, but they don't store them as a conscious memory. They store it as a feeling and or emotion. And it's a processing system for your body to make decisions quickly. So when someone comes running towards you with a scared look on their face, your body instantly goes into, hey, what's going on? It already knows, hey, I've experienced this before. Last time we had to run away. Okay. And so then it goes into your conscious to say, okay, now I need to make a decision. Do I need to run away? Is there a bear chasing him? Or is he just really scared he's about to shit his pants and he's going to the toilet just behind me here?
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So um, I'll give you a good little story, mate. This is actually quite a little moment for me. The very first time I experienced this, um, I was at a little special little festival. I think it might have been Earthbeat, not something I'd normally go to. They had a presenter there talking about somatic body experience stuff. So it's, feeling sensations within your body. And that was me just trying to get my head around, hey, what's going on here? What's happening with me? How do I work?
Yeah.
Um, she gave us a little exercise. There's about 50 people sitting around the room there. And then she asked a couple of people to just sort of give a bit of a talk about what they experienced about that exercise. And I can remember guys sitting nearby started talking about he was 4 years old in a sandpit, and some other little 4-year-old in the sandpit had smacked him upside the head with a plastic spade, and how it created this little feeling of not good enough within himself. And I was sitting there listening to him talk about this stuff, and my body started shaking, just sort of like, a bit shaky. And I was like, oh, what's going on here? Uh, and a key piece of the puzzle I learned earlier that day was this: when an emotion does come up, it actually only lasts for about 90 seconds. So that's in my heart here, these little cluster of neurons, and remembered, yeah, okay, so I sat with it. What's this little feeling? Why is my body shaking in the moment? And this little piece of empathy comes up, recognizing that feeling of not feeling good enough. It's like, oh, I can recognize that within myself. And after
Mm.
about 90 seconds, body stops shaking, calm down, and then this beautiful warm glow comes out. And it's just that little realization of mine. It's like, oh, so this is what experiencing the sensations and feelings within my body is about. So it's good, yeah, just and that there is your body saying, "Hey, I'm experiencing something. I remember this memory. I think this is what happened back then, and I think you're not feeling good enough." And then, but then because it gets to express it, it then goes, "Oh, hang on, no, no, you're okay, mate. You're safe." you're perfectly fine. There's no response needed here. And it comes back down again. So
It's
just that ability to process and metabolize an emotion, let it come out, let it go, and your body just goes back to normal. It's just that was a very poignant moment for me, mate. I absolutely love that little swap there. So just everywhere I go now, it's like, oh, what's this little sensation? Where's that coming from? Okay, what does it mean? What's my body telling me? If I can find what the emotion is that it's trying to communicate to me, I'll put a label on it. So, then you know what it is, and your body relaxes again. Yeah, mate. It's a really great experience around that. It's been good.
yeah, that is
Definitely
cool.
put me very much in touch with myself.
Yeah, that's very similar to what I learned on my with my breathing and that when
Yeah.
certain things happen in our life, traumatic events, it stores in our body as the trauma doesn't get released right then if you don't release it right then, so you don't run away from that bear,
Yes.
that trauma hasn't released, so um, it stays built up in the body, and with the breath work, that actually it gets released during that time because you that you were talking about before. You got the brain, you got the frontal cortex, and then you got your reptilian brain, which is your fight or flight, and then you got your mammalian brain, which is where all your emotions and that sort of stuff's stored up. And what happens during these breathwork sessions is um, the frontal cortex, which is your decision making and what am I going to do next, that has a sleep, and so does your fight or flight. That has a sleep as well. So your mammalian brain's activated, and that's all those subconscious feelings come up, and
Yes.
and memories and dreams that you thought you forgot and all that sort of stuff. So that's the feedback I get and what I've experienced personally, and that can be really rewarding for some people. Because they didn't realize that that was there, and that can I people cry and scream and laugh and
Yes, mate. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I've loved exploring into this stuff, mate. It's been definitely a game changer. I almost wonder if it's like just when you get to this time in life, that's when that stuff starts coming out. And you sort of like, hang on a minute, there's something more here. Because I've experienced so many people now just around our age group who are like, oh, hang on, I found all this stuff around sort of breathing and my subconscious system. I've done some reprogramming and figured out all these things that are from the past that I didn't even know were a thing. Um, I've got a good little story on there. Um, there's a guy I've been working with just around subconscious recode stuff.
yeah,
So, but like your breath work, you're going back. If you close your eyes and you kind of like the first time I bumped into him, I was like I'd had a disagreement with my girlfriend, and sort of I had this sort of feeling of not feeling good enough. And it's the middle of the night somewhere at some little festival thing, and can't remember what question he asked me, but I said, "Oh, look, I've just had this disagreement with my girlfriend and brought up this feeling of not being good enough." He said, "Oh, have you got a moment?" And he walked me through this little process. He's like, "Okay, close your eyes,
yeah,
just go back to your earliest memory about when you didn't feel good enough." And now I can sit here with my conscious brain and sort of like, oh, how am I going to remember that? But trust the process. So you close your eyes, ask your subconscious, well, when's your earliest memory? And this little memory of when I was about 5 years old came up. Um, and I'm trying to hop on a school bus, and I had a woolly hat on. My mum's taking the woolly hat off, my hair sticking on end, and she's trying to sort my hair out before I get onto the school bus, trying to comb my hair. And in the moment, my body's interpreted that as, oh, I must not be good enough. And then it's stored it like that. And here I am 40 years later, 45 years later, sort of like still got this carrying this feeling of not being good enough. I've never been able to process it properly. And so, okay, close your eyes, go back to this earliest memory and you could sit there and say, oh, is this my earliest memory? You just ask your subconscious, and you're like, nothing would come up before then. So, okay, that must be it. All right. Draw a little circle in time just before that memory. Give that kid everything that it really needs in life. It's safe, it's loved, it belongs in the world, and it's good enough because it was always good enough. And just this felt sense of change within here, mate, within my little heart. It's like, it wasn't a conscious thing about, okay, I think I'm good enough now. No, no, it was a felt sense of change. It was like, I was good enough all along. And so essentially, we've gone back. Your body's interpreted this memory back here as you were good enough. If you go back and recode it, that it's safe, it's loved, it belongs in the world, and it was already good enough. Oh, this changes the neural pathways in here to say, actually, that wasn't, you've misunderstood it, mate. This is what was actually going on. You were good enough. And so now you bring that, all that pain goes away.
you're
Um,
absolutely correct. You're spot on. I do a similar thing when I'm talking to the people when I'm doing the breathing stuff, and I take them back on
yes.
and take them for a bit of a journey into their past, and
yeah,
um, and work on some of those things. But I had a similar experience where I was going through a similar thing to what you're going through, and this is just recently as well. So they talk about people having an event happening and you and it stalls up, and then when something else similar happens later on in life, that's when you get triggered, and that's when you behave the same way that you when you first experienced that event. So for me, I realized like me and my father argued a lot and didn't really get along much, even right from when I was very young. And recently he passed, but I went back when he was really sick at one stage, and we were getting along, later in life and that. But we still had an argument when I was there, and I went away to the spare room where I was staying in, and I had a bit of a moment to myself, and I realized in that moment, because I had been studying all this sort of stuff, wow, this is my the last time I felt like this was when I was 11 years old, and when he said something similar to me like that, and that's when I connected the dots of what you're talking about, and that's when I had that forgiveness of myself for feeling that way, and the forgiveness of him instantly, and then for you to be talking about something very, very similar, or if not the same things,
yeah,
like we
yeah,
talk about synchronicity, I
yeah,
believe in synchronicity and the right people showing up at the right time, and if you're
yeah,
doing the right thing and with purpose and
yeah,
and not out to harm anybody else, just
yeah,
doing the right thing, really, what's morally the
yep,
right
yep,
thing.
yep,
The universal, for me personally, I think it'll things will just happen the way they're supposed to happen. I think
yeah,
in a way, people would say, "Oh, that's woo woo or spirituality or God or whatever you want to call it." But I believe in this mental health healing journey. For me personally, because I used to be. I didn't believe in anything. Once you were dead, I thought you were dead. I was what you would call an atheist, I suppose.
yep,
But I'm a little bit more hippie and in touch with things today, and I believe in there's bigger powers out there than us.
yeah,
Yeah, having a willingness to want to learn about yourself and why you
yeah,
think the way you think, and even if you go down the scientific medical avenue, that is even rewarding in itself, because if you're
yeah,
that's the way you think, well, it makes sense, because you produce certain chemicals like I learnt about cortisol and serotonin, and
yeah,
you
yep.
know, one's a good one and one's not so good. One
Yeah,
we need cortisol though because it's a stress response hormone, but
yeah,
at the
yeah,
same
mate. If
time
you're in a stressful situation, you need it.
we don't need to be we don't need to be in fight or flight 24 hours a day, because then that's
No.
unhealthy. So
When I first figured out, oh, like I've got this bit of anxious attachment thing that's sort of affecting relationships, um, figure out
yes, I
where that
did.
comes from and these old
Mm.
beliefs that we're feeding into it. And I've gone back and heal up those beliefs and sort of get them get expressed and get rid of them. And then you come back into your day to day, and the old me would be like constantly scanning my environment, wondering how I had to adapt myself so that other people around me were comfortable. And once I let go of these old beliefs, now I just get to be me. And so I don't have to scan and do all this work anymore. And mate, it's the inner peace and the calmness that come out of it. And suddenly you're like, oh, I'm not tired anymore. I've got all this extra energy. I'm like, and I get to put that energy into stuff that I love doing now. It's like, man, that was a game changer, mate. Just the peace and the calmness within myself and all the extra energy I had to now focus into stuff that I really wanted to do rather than just trying to adapt to my environment, which I didn't need to do. Yeah, yeah, that was
It's
game changer, mate.
it's really interesting you say that, because I was very, very similar for a lot of years, man.
Yeah.
I would even call myself a chameleon, because
Yeah,
I
yes.
would want
I've
to
been
adapt
called that
into the
too.
I'd want to adapt into, if I'm around a bunch of the boys from the army, I'm like, yeah, bro, sure, and if I'm
Yep.
around a bunch of old people, I'm, oh, okay, all nice and quiet, sort of adapt to the
Yeah.
environment. And
Yeah.
I've tried on a lot of costumes since I got out of the army, looking for that brotherhood, really, that sense
Yeah.
of brotherhood that I missed. I was um, in a bike club for a while, and just looking for my people, if that makes sense, and
Yep. Yep. Looking for your
looking
tribe.
for my tribe. Yeah. So, and I suppose when I stopped looking, that's when my tribe started to come to me, was when I stopped looking for it and I became comfortable in my own skin and could
Yeah.
be my own personality. And if you could change anything when you look back on your past, is there any sort of, what would you tell your younger self now, knowing what you know now?
There's an interesting piece comes out, mate, is that anxious attachment that I had early in life was actually a superpower. That gave me a very strong analytical brain that I've solved some amazing problems just through work and stuff along the way, really complex technical stuff. My analytical brain has just followed the rabbit hole and come up like surprised the shit out of everybody, mate, with just some really good solutions, found some really interesting causes to problems. So it's actually a superpower. And so kind of looking back in a way, as much as I see it's kind of affected my relationships in life, but I've still got opportunity, mate. I can still go back and reform these relationships now in a good, healthy way. And then I've got the superpower of the ability to analyze stuff and solve really complex problems. So I think it's just one of those things in life, mate. When you get to that point that you're happy within yourself, you realize you don't need to change the past and you wouldn't want to change the past because who you are is actually freaking awesome and amazing. And it makes you who you are.
I struggled to love myself for a long time. I think
Yeah.
if you can love yourself and for who you are, because at the end of the day, man, this is your story and my story, and we're having our own experiences. We're here to experience, so why should we be worried about what other people are thinking about our experience when
Yeah, yeah.
it's ours to be had. And whatever this place is, we still, I'm now that I've done all this self-searching, it sort of makes me question another layer of things in this matrix that we live in, mate. So it's been a pleasure having you on the Strong, Happy, Healthy Love podcast.
Cool,
Uh,
mate.
I'm gonna send you a t-shirt as well
Oh,
for
yeah.
coming on the show.
Okay.
So we do
Thanks, mate.
we've got the 100% organic cotton, and
Yeah,
22% of the profits gets donated to mental health organisations. Beyond Blue and
awesome.
ADHD
Yeah,
Foundation over here in
yeah,
Australia are two of those
yeah,
companies that are on board to receiving
yeah.
that. So it's been a pleasure having you on the show, Aaron, and
Thanks for inviting me, mate.
yeah,
And,
really good,
and like,
mate. Is there anything you want
uh,
to say before we go?
yeah, just the boys out there, the guys, girls, everyone who watches this. If there's stuff that you found, hey, look, actually, I want to explore that more with myself. Reach out to us because we're all on the journey, and there's like so much we can learn from each other here. So just yeah, if you've seen some stuff that's pricked your ears up, or sort of, hey, look, I want to explore it a bit more myself. I want to understand a bit more. Reach out to us, mate. Don't be shy. We're all here to help and
A-
support each other. Yeah,
Absolutely, absolutely. And I think that is another really big step, is to actually speak to people about what you're going through. If you can even just ring up your mate and just have a chat to him, you don't even have to tell them what you're going through, but you'll find talking to
yeah,
people in general is healing in itself.
yeah,
I've
mate.
really enjoyed catching up with you, Aaron. I haven't spoken to you in years, and for the what reasons we don't know, but for whatever reason why it's all happening now, I'm loving it. And awesome
Mate,
to
good.
have you
So
on the
am I.
show, bro, and we'll be keeping in touch, man. Well, I'm
Yeah,
giving you a breathing session, so there you go. I'll see you when we
yeah,
do
mate.
that. Yeah.
Looking
All right,
forward to that.
guys.
Looking forward to
All
that.
right. Have a good one. Okay, bye.
Thanks very much, Carl. Much
No
appreciated,
worries.
mate.
All right, brother.